What does it mean to achieve change? It's one thing to change one person's life, two people's lives, 10, 20, but to do something that is systemic, to actually change the course of the way things are going to be, that was my challenge. And in order for me to explain that in better perspective, like many of us, we have things that happen to us in our lives that change the course of the way we think. And so too happened to me. It started in the Bronx. That's where I was born, about 5 blocks from Yankee Stadium. My dad was a Teamster. No one had ever gone to college in my family. And I was sitting at junior high school 22 on Morris Avenue, pretty tough school. And I was in art class, and I was doing some drawing. And my teacher came up to me and she said, "Art, you know, you're pretty good. And Saks Quality Stores over on Fordham Road has a scholarship. I've tried to put so many people in for that, but they won't go. If I put your name in, would you go?" And I thought about it because I was a tough guy. I don't know if this would be good for my reputation. After all, I had just learned how to strut. Well, I said, you know what, I'll try it. And I got on a bus, and I went up to Fordham Road in the Bronx, and I went downstairs to Saks Quality Stores, which was a furniture store. And there I met someone who I'll never forget. His name was Mr. Ness. And we started doing painting and drawing, and one day he came up to me and he said, "Art, you know, you're pretty good. Are you going to try out for the High School of Music and Art?" And I looked at him and I said, "What's that?" And he says, "Do you have a portfolio?" And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Come here." And he grabbed me by the collar and he said, "Look, I'll make you a deal. I think you got a lot of potential. I'll give you a second scholarship if you let me tell you what to do to create that portfolio. If you promise me you'll try out for the High School of Music and Art and the School of Art and Design." So I went home and I spoke to my father, who I was scared to death of. And we agreed that we would do that. And Mr. Ness gave me project after project after project. And right before the exams came for Music and Art and Design, he called me in and he sat me down and he said, "You listen to me. I know the kinds of friends that you have. You're going to make both schools. And don't you forget it and have that self-esteem." And I got to tell you, when I walked out of Music and Art, which at the time was at 135th Street and Convent Avenue, I knew I was going to make Music and Art. And I made it, and it changed my life. I became a professor at Columbia University. I had a group of students that I was working with 14 years ago on a research project with underserved people from the Harlem area. And I began to realize that they lacked self-esteem. None of them had ever been on the campus of Columbia University. And I put together a business plan, and I decided that I would do something similar to what Mr. Ness told me. Incidentally, I never said thank you, but I didn't have to. But I didn't want to help one person or two people. I wanted to allow young adults to get a chance to go to college. We learned so much in those 4 or 5 years. We published a paper. The bottom line is I wanted to create a systemic solution, one where we could put thousands of people through school, allow them to get jobs, and we really understood the problem. And I put together a business plan for Workforce Opportunity Service with the idea behind it that we would get a funder called corporations who really needed diversity. And would they play? And of course, everybody told me that it would never work. And could we get universities and college to participate? How do you get them on a campus of Columbia University? I'll give them a certificate, not a degree. Well, let's talk a little bit more about what happened there. So the idea behind Workforce Opportunity Services was to take underserved populations, which, by the way, today includes people coming from Iraq, Afghanistan, our veterans. It brings together social organizations and corporations and other universities, all of which are trying to help, and frankly, the way I saw it, the solutions were not systemic enough. There are lots of people that benefit, but not enough to change the course of what we were doing. And it's a course. So we put together certificate programs with the School of Engineering at Columbia. And we got Prudential, the first company to put money in, that were looking for young, diverse talent. And we brought people in by busloads from Newark and New York and other places. And today, all of those students are now working. But how do you get corporations to take the risk? They're very, very risk averse. How do you get them to integrate in the business truly? Well, first, you got to have money. So we pay our students, and we teach them how to balance school and work, a very important thing, because most of these young people are not going to go away to 4 years of college. But let them get that degree. Incidentally, I spent 18 years at night getting my degrees, from my undergraduate to my MBA to my doctoral work. And I knew the power that you can get from actually integrating work and school to give an income to these young people. So we had a robust support structure. My area of doctoral work was mentoring, so we have a mentoring program. We have education, and we began to expand the implementation of Workforce Opportunity Service. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, but you know, we call ourselves social entrepreneurs because we want people to be nice. But guess what? Nice is not systemic. Nice is just nice once or twice. All right? You know how many rounds of investment Prudential has done? 20 rounds of investment. They've hired away 75 people, and we're implementing in over 5 cities around the country. This is what Workforce Opportunity Services looks like today in nearly 20 cities. We're doing everything from IT work to healthcare to shared services to mechanics for returning veterans. And right now we have 250 people working for us and another 300 that have been hired away. But perhaps the best thing that I could leave you with about this is to show you a film on a recent graduation, because in every one of these locations there's a partner university. Penn State, Rutgers, Georgia Tech, University of Texas El Paso, University of Missouri St. Louis, and I'll go on and on and on. But here is a film of a recent graduation that happened last year at Rutgers, of which the chancellor attended. This is an exciting day, and I'm delighted to see that so many of them have done well.
It gives me a great sense of comfort to know there are good people in this world. When I first met Dr. Langer, not only did the bow tie catch my eye, but also their passion and sincerity for helping others blew me away. Where I come from, young adults have to find their own opportunities. There is no one to lend a helping hand. There is no one to care about our well-being, let alone our education. I'm here today to remind you all that there is hope. Workforce Opportunity Services.
How WS helped me to find the path to start my career in 2007. My first piece of advice is always trust your training and do your work with passion. You do that every day, trust me, you will be successful. The first lessons I learned on Horizon was always challenge yourself. And also, don't stay too long in your comfort zone. We need to put ourselves out there, challenge ourselves, become a better person.
And we can thank WOS, and we can thank Rutgers, and we can thank the city. But at the end of the day, it was what you did. All right? Not us, but what you did. And that's something that nobody can ever take away from you.
Many of the community colleges and participating universities with Rutgers and Penn State are now awarding 30 credits for the certificate programs. We pay the tuition for our students to continue to go on and study while they're working for us, creating new jobs in the U.S., bringing back a lot of those lost jobs by people who can compete and also get their education at the same time. And we recently opened up in France, because if you can get the French, you can get anybody. So Europe has the same problem, and the research continues. So self-esteem is the key with all of these young people, getting them on a campus, believing in themselves. The cognitive stuff is easy. It really is. So there's one thing I want to leave you with, a motto that I always had. People will tell you that you can't do systemic solutions, but you can. And remember, no means no today only. Thank you very much.